Welcome to the 50 to 70 podcast, brought to you in association with 3FE Coffee. Get everything you need for your coffee fix at 3fe.com or visit one of their 7 stores located around Dublin. And if you want to know exactly what it's like to run a coffee shop, its owner, Colin Harmon, has written a book all about it. Everything he needs, everything he knows about running coffee shops. It's well worth a read. I am Dave Humphreys.
I'm Cormac Singleton.
And
I have some housekeeping to do. Last week there was some talk of various cars, upon which was the Honda Passport, which I, for some reason, called the wrong name for probably half an hour. I said Passport, which is a model, but the one that I was trying to think of and trying to say was in fact the Crossroad, which I remembered the second I got home and just went, shit.
How hard did you punch the wall?
It's just that knowing that, I can't take that back. That, we either ruin the podcast by editing it and breaking the continuity, because we're pretty good at getting these in kind of one. They're unedited.
In case you did wonder, we just hit record and this is all one go.
So done pretty well, and so I'd rather warts and all than have a break in it, and or someone going the Honda Crossroad. So if you were sitting there like all three of you that would have caught that mistake and went, didn't we mean the Crossroad? Yes it did. I meant the Crossroad. In my head I was saying Crossroad, but when it came out it said Passport, which is a different Honda sold in America, a bit less bland than a Disco 1.
I also need to saddle the blame because I also went along with this and didn't cop it during our entire conversation. So it's not entirely on you. I would have pulled you up on it.
Or you were just giving me the
Although
the
it was
rope.
the same thing. No, I wasn't giving you rope to hang out. But I also knew exactly the model that you were actually thinking of. But anyway, it just goes to show that we are actually human. We're human beings. And
sometimes we mix up our Hondas.
Yes. We
opposite the best.
There's a lot of models to talk about here, So
now, speaking of Hondas,
yes. Well, first of all,
there's one less.
Yes, there's one less Honda. This week, I don't know how closely you might follow the Irish car scene, but slightly serious note, there was unfortunately a very significant fire at the engine block, which is home to a number of different automotive businesses and different things such as Dean Motors, Franklin Motorcycles,
JC Auto Care,
Drift Games,
Motorzone.
And unfortunately, the building is a complete loss. A huge amount of vehicles have been destroyed, including one of my own that was in there being maintained, getting some maintenance work done at the time. The most important thing is that nobody was seriously hurt, nobody was injured. This is what insurance and all that kind of stuff is for. Gutting isn't the word for how bad we feel for all of these people involved, how much effort went into making that place happen. Doing these things in Ireland is not easy at the best of times.
Realistically, they've only been open since kind of summer last year, and things were only starting to ramp up. We brought a bit of content from a couple of months ago there, had more stuff planned for later in the year. In fact, this episode itself was meant to be an interview with Simon Dean of Dean Motors, but due to unforeseen circumstance, we've rescheduled that. It's a great loss. It kind of, not a lot of the building really can be saved. Realistically, the building is a write-off, so you kind of go, it's a great what could have been.
I mean, it's great that they got it there in the first place.
But it was just getting started. That was there was so much more to happen there, and it's gone, and none of us really know yet where things are going to go for all of them.
This was only a couple of days ago, so
everything is fresh.
This is going to take a very long time to sort out. But
if you're listening to this live and going, lads, I think you might have missed something that happened this week. This is it. We just want to give a quick mention that it sucks.
It absolutely sucks, and genuinely feel just feel really bad for all the people involved. I know how much work they've all put in the different companies to do this thing, and I just cannot comprehend what it must feel like. And okay, yeah, one of my vehicles was there and it's gone now. I'm not really, I'm a little bit sad, a little bit not annoyed by it, but it's like, oh, that's a bit disappointing. But
yeah, but
it's not like it isn't by no means, it doesn't matter. It's what these things are. It's what, like I said, it's what insurance is for.
They're friends of ours personally and professionally.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I mean, I've known Simon for a long time. I've known the guys in Franklin Motorcycles for a long time as well.
But we just go there and hang out. They actually were making a really big effort. We've said that we want to try and get stuff happening during the summer of some meetups and spins and stuff, but they're making a really big effort to get people out there, and much to their own detriment, there was a lot of messing and heartache that was involved with that too, and they kept going, and for it to kind of come to an end like this so soon.
Yeah, I think that's the real kicker, is that it was just, it exactly what you said. It felt like this was really starting to get some momentum behind it. But yeah, look,
help the guys out where you can.
Yeah, there's not much we can say other than, we really feel for them. It's like, you just kind of want to put your arm around them and give them a hug, and that's it.
If you're into cars this week, chances are all you have seen on social media is giveaways for Oosh and this.
Yes, yeah. So hopefully, it is a bit of a long road ahead for them, but they
built it once.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they've done it. They've proven they can do it, and hopefully, I'm sure if they decide to do it again, I'm sure they will have an endless amount of support to get it over the line. So yeah, we just want to say a big kind of open hearts, give everyone a hug, and hopefully they'll be back. So anyway, moving on to some slightly more entertaining or more uplifting things. I've been driving a few things recently. I say recently because I drove this a little while ago, but it was embargoed. We couldn't talk about it, but now that's lifted. So we can talk about the most powerful production Porsche ever made.
And it comes in the shape of a
Porsche Taycan.
Yay.
A four-door saloon or sedan, depending on where you are in the world. Yeah, so obviously the Porsche Taycan. More recently, people know it for various reasons, usually around depreciation and things like that, but they've gone and made a GT car. That's electric.
It's a pretty polarizing car because, on the one hand, Porsche make the 911.
Yes.
It's one of, if not the greatest sports car of all time. On the other hand, it's an EV. You can't have sporty EVs because mass weight and all this, but it's obviously Porsche-fied, so it has some pretty trick things. Now, I didn't drive it because I wasn't there, but so to start off, it's ballistically quick.
Yes. So this is, I mean, I've driven fast cars in my career, in all sorts of shapes and sizes. This thing is brain-scramblingly quick. It was just so hard to kind of get your head around. I'll run through some of the stats.
So it's like F1 simulator for your neck muscles.
Yeah, I mean, there were a number of expletives in the video. So let's start with the main thing. It's got a 97 kilowatt hour battery. That's not really that important for most people. It's got a 555 kilometer range, but it's got a dual motor setup, so you got motors on each axles. As in its normal standard form, this has 789 horsepower in its normal mode,
which is just enough to move it.
Which is ample, I would say. But there's then the launch control, which dials everything up, and that gives you 1,034 horsepower, which is an awful lot of power. When you are in four numbers, it's substantial. But
just cast your mind back to a couple of years ago when we first had a car with 1,000 horsepower on the road, and that was a pretty big deal. Now you have a four-door sedan.
Yes, with a frunk and a boot.
Yep.
Yeah, and aircon.
And not an 8-litre quad turbo.
Yes, and it's completely silent.
Yeah.
So it's got 1,349 newton meters of torque, and being electric, you get that torque instantly, right away.
Makes it at zero.
And now we did a lot of stuff. We were doing it on track down in Seville at Moto Blanco, but when I pulled up on the straight and we did a full launch control start, so he dialed around the Sport Plus, foot fully on the brake, foot fully on the gas. And the first time it did it, 0 to 100 is really quick. 2.2 seconds. 2.2 seconds to 100 kilometers
an
hour.
You can't go much, like your body can't take much more than that.
But then it's only 6.6 seconds on paper to go to 200. So you just keep the foot in, keep your shoe in, and another 4 seconds later, you're going past 200 kilometers an hour. And I actually think, because when we looked back on we had a video camera, we had it on video, we had like an over-the-shoulder thing reading the dash, and it looks like it does it quicker than it. Like Porsche is being conservative.
They're known for this. They sandbag their
there's I think another second in it. And after you do it, we did this a few times because A, it was just nuts, and B, we were making videos. That launch control start, like I was trying, like when I was writing up the review, I was trying to, how am I going to really relay this? Because it's kind of hard to describe exactly what this feels like.
Engine to hear to give you a sense of how high it's revving, or how quick it's getting up through the revs or anything like that. I related it to whenever you see a fighter pilot in a fighter jet getting launched off an aircraft carrier. It's that kind of sensation. It's faster than falling off a building. It's like, it's just you like, and after you do, we did a few of these, but like by the second or third launch, I was starting to feel nauseous. Like I genuinely, I didn't feel well. Like it was like, it wasn't because I had a big lunch. It was just like, it just messes with your body because it's not like the acceleration force doesn't let up. It's like just linear acceleration. And also then there's so much trick stuff going on with this car. So it's got this new Porsche Active Ride system, which kind of allows the car to do all sorts of crazy trickery with how it can lean. Yes. So it can basically, it's like, this car doesn't have anti-roll bars. It uses the air suspension to basically act to compensate. So it can lean into a bend.
So yeah, what it can do is you can have it set up that it will stay completely level. So you go fast into a right corner. Normally it would lean over to the left. This will stay completely level. Or you can put it into a more aggressive mode where it will lean into a corner.
Like a bike.
Like a motorcycle does. And then they've got this nuts thing called helicopter mode, which is when you're in a straight line and you get on the gas. It goes it like puts the nose down like the way a helicopter goes forward, and at the same time when it's braking, the back end, you feel the back end sit down. And it's the first few laps, it was just like the most really bizarre, counterintuitive. It just didn't feel right. But obviously you kind of go, look, you trust the system, let it work, see how, and when you start exploiting it, man, this thing is quick. Like, it is insanely quick, to the point that when I got out of the car the first time after the first session, the Porsche guys, they're like, so what do you think? I was like, it's silly. It's silly is the only word I could describe. And they all got, they got a good laugh at it. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought it is kind of nuts that if you have the money, and this is 265,000 euros, but if you have that money, you can basically just walk in and buy this. Nobody's gonna ask like, "Are you a good driver?" Or it's like there's no test involved. Yeah, there's none of this, and you also have the attack mode. So you've got the right paddle behind the steering wheel. You pull that and it gives you another 120 kilowatts of power instantly for another 10 seconds, which is kind of like a Formula E thing that they developed. And so, because the normal Taycans have this pass to push button, or sorry, push to pass on the steering wheel, which is kind of like, it's literally like hitting a power boost. But attack mode, it lives up to its name. It is like, you could be doing, I was doing 150, 160 coming out of corners, and you just pull the paddle, and it's like somebody just gives you a kick up the backside. It's proper, you feel that extra power. This isn't some sort of, pull the paddle and we'll make you feel a bit like you really notice this thing happening. So yeah, it is an utterly ridiculous car. So this is obviously, it's set records at Laguna Seca, at Nürburgring Nordschleife. It is.
And it gets a little bit crazy as well because you can Weissach it.
So the one I was driving was the Weissach package, which does a few things. It obviously gives you that extra bit of power, but you also then it shaves a tenth of a second off the 0 to 100 because it deletes the rear seats. So instead of those 4 doors, because they're not going to go changing the whole body style, but they take a whole lot of weight out of the car. So they take out the rear seats, and there's just this kind of very elaborate carbon fiber cover, which kind of has a base on the bottom of it with a kind of like a storage compartment in it with a tonneau cover on. And you can put whatever, soft bags, weekend bags in there. And it's got a fixed rear wing on the back. So you can get the normal Turbo GT, and it's got an adaptive spoiler with a gurney flap on the back. Or you can go for the Weissach package, and it's got the fixed wing. And to be honest, the fixed wing, it looks a bit Halford's.
Yeah, you had a purple one as well.
Purple, yeah. And yeah, it's a bit in your face. But there's all sorts of you've extra sort of aero blades on the front and rear bumpers, on the side, help airflow and all this kind of stuff. They even go, so Porsche are like, how can we take more weight out of this car? So the Taycan famously has 2 charge ports on each side. Mm-hmm. They said, we're going to get rid of them. So they got rid of one of them. And then they also got rid of the electric door mechanism for the charge port. So you used to have like a little thing, you could swipe your finger, which is now a standard feature on the current facelifted models. But they've got rid of that, so it's like you literally have to imagine the horror of having to open your own charge port door to charge this thing.
To fill up your 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah. So, this thing is just insane. It is the quickest thing I've driven, I think, ever. Like I've driven some fast stuff, but that launch control, and hopefully by the time you're listening to this, the video will be up on the Complete Car YouTube channel. Check it out. It's just utterly ridiculous.
I'd say the more important question, being that it is a Porsche, is it cool?
Is it cool? That's a very good question. Most Porsche fans will tell you it's not cool, probably because it's a Taycan. Uh-huh. They'll probably hate the fact that they've given it a GT moniker as well, and the fact that you can get
the PTS Weissach crowd will be up in arms about it being available as a Weissach.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
diluting the name.
I mean, it's. Is it cool? I don't know if it's cool. I don't think it's uncool. I don't think I could live with getting the Weissach on it though. I'd be because it is kind of pointless not having rear seats in a 4-door car. But
the other thing is that performance wise, it's a 1/10 of a second.
Yeah, you will not notice a 1/10 of a second.
Almost anyone that's got to buy one.
Yeah.
They're not noticing a 1/10 of a second.
No, exactly. Like, if you think you can feel that difference. Yeah. So, this is
so
purely...
you buy the normal one and then take all the badges off and then decimate everything.
What? Well, actually, I kind of like the normal one because it's just got that kind of active spoiler on the back. It doesn't have the big... I'm not really a fan of the big fixed wing because overall, I think the Taycan's a
Forza to it.
It doesn't... Like, the Taycan's not a bad-looking car.
Yeah, and this does stand out.
this just like it looks like you've just added it on. It's not,
it's
much
not,
the same way like the GT3 RS
design.
just looks ridiculous now. But the thing is, there's not anything like the GT3 RS looks ridiculous. It is a clown car, but
from the outset, that's track. So it's got gills car, and it's got
exactly. So it's got all these little appendages everywhere, and then the big wing. This only has the wing, really. So yeah, I just thought. I probably
like you see a GT3 RS and you go track car. You see a Taycan with a wing, you go weird dad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's or are you the sixth owner of this car now?
yeah. Did you wrap that purple? That's white underneath.
Yeah, exactly. So there's definitely and some knockoff T37s or something like that, or just
they came free with the chameleon windscreen wrap.
Yeah, that's what it needs. Yeah, chameleon. Yeah, nothing says pull me over. Quite like having one of those. But what the one thing I came away from it was thinking, if they can do this in a Taycan now, all the tech is there for them when they make an electric sports car, which we know the next Cayman is going electric, and it's only a matter of time before they will have to make an electric.
It is great in that sense. If you can make this huge big thing outperform anything else that you make, like, cool, you're doing something great. I just can't help feel like you never walk away from it wanting one. That was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the experience.
There's a definite novelty factor with
but
this.
I'm not going, I can't wait for the day I can have one of them.
Yeah. I don't see anybody putting a Taycan GT Turbo GT Visac package poster on their wall. In their bedroom wall.
Don't think so.
It's not.
One day.
Yeah, it's not. It isn't, unless you're really into spreadsheets or something like that, maybe. But like, there's not really.
When I defeat the IT final boss, I can have one.
Yeah. So it's kind of. Yeah, I think it's cool, but I came away from it more so thinking, what are the next 5 years or 10 years going to be like?
It does lay some pretty cool groundwork for what could be done.
Yeah.
Imagine if they took this performance and the suspension and everything and, then have a 2-seat 918 successor type thing. That's going to push hypercar into... They'll need a new name then.
Yeah, I mean, this is... like that's the thing. This is really what it competes against. You're into the sort of million plus hypercars. So
when you can put your 4-door Porsche up against a Bugatti, and it's not
embarrass it.
It's not quite a fair fight. For the Bugatti.
It's really crazy. But that was a real highlight to get to drive that thing. But also, I mean, there's so much tech in this car, like the suspension that I mentioned. There's a ton of things that we could do a whole hour-long show just on the car.
Or you could do a video on it.
Yeah, exactly. So, there was that kind of thing. But then, there was a few things. Now, you do get quite a lot with that. And actually, the interesting thing is the Visac package is cheaper than the non-Visac package because
some of that Porsche has messed up.
The wonders of it's €112 less.
So historically, Porsche has been charge you more for less.
Yeah.
But so this is revenue having their hand in there.
They've gotten around it this time. But the one thing that I did find was that I kind of found annoying was that I was doing a lot of writing about this car. And I was obviously spending a lot of time on the configurator as well. And man, Porsche know how to charge you for stuff.
Oh yeah.
It was like some of the stuff. Like I did one car. I basically mirrored the car that I was driving at the launch. So I had the spec list of the car that I was driving at the launch. It was the Turbo S Cross Turismo.
Sir wants the left and right sides to match.
Yeah,
that will be extra.
All this kind of stuff, and I added like almost €50,000 just to get it to that spec over and above the standard stuff and it's still it doesn't come like barren, devoid of things,
cloud seats, unpainted bumpers.
But like there was stuff like if you want your sun visors covered in leather, it's €520, and would you like a leather-lined cup holder. Sir, that'll be €319.
I'd like to meet the cow.
Yeah,
that provides €300 leather
for
the size
a cup
of your
holder.
palm.
Yeah, yeah. And then it was like, oh, if you can get the Porsche logo embossed in the center armrest, that's €280. I know they're not, but it's suddenly like you start ticking all these boxes.
If you would like to be branded with a hot poker with the Porsche logo,
they very quickly add up. So yeah, and that wasn't even before you get into like all the really obscure
it
special
is
stuff
at the end of the day a 4-seat, 4-door car. So when you're speccing it, if you're speccing a GT3 RS, you're going to go. The object here is to go fast and set lap times. But if you are, 4 doors, 4 seats, you have other, needs.
Yes. Yeah.
So you're going to make it livable. You're going to need things in it. No, but you're going to
livable. A Porsche Taycan with no options is pretty livable.
No, but if you're getting a GT3S and they go, it has no boot, and you go, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm going to like. I'll accept the compromise.
Yeah.
If you're getting the fastest vehicle they make, you go, now I have to make sure I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I just have bonkers, absolutely bonkers. I don't get into the whole spending hours on an online configurator specking up cars. I'm not one of those people. I know a lot.
I did it for a Carrera T, then realized I could just have a GT3 instead.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I think the 911T, that's like probably the one that I'd have.
Realistically,
it's the nicest.
Me and the T could have a very happy life together.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like this thing comes on steel wheels, Although
make it better.
I wouldn't mind it on steel wheels.
Band them and lower it.
Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, the Taycan Turbo GT. I ran out of words to try and describe it. It's just utterly ridiculous.
Yeah.
In a lot of the good ways, but man,
12,000 words. All of them are fast.
This fast is an understatement for this car. Like fast doesn't cover it. This is, I mean, yeah, you could say fast, but like what people think is fast, and I would love to get some kind of just, I don't want to say normal, but like non-car people.
Not even non-car people. I'd love to put our friend Michael in it, because it'd be just a demonstration how to paint the inside of a car with lunch. How
quickly could we make him chunder?
I think he wouldn't have the seatbelt in.
Really?
And just the thought of what it's going to do would upset him.
And also, this from a man that owns a BMW M2.
Yeah.
Which is not a slow car.
No. But it's okay because he's driving.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
But I think even if you put him behind the wheel of this, he could still...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can hear his stomach gurgling already.
It's a noise thing, though, because it's, you don't get the noise to go alongside with the movement.
Well, this does have a Porsche. This has the sound.
It's not the same.
It's not. It's a digital
You can
sound.
feel noise.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, it's not like a screaming V12 behind you. Yeah, I totally get that.
It's got all the sensations.
Yeah. It's. I mean, God, it was. And the other thing as well is you kind of know like they're holding back a bit here.
Yeah.
It's not like they have extracted every last bit of power.
Because it still has to have a Porsche warranty.
Yes,
and
exactly.
it still has to have a semblance of longevity.
Yes, exactly. It has to do all the durability and all that kind of stuff.
If you went to them and said, what could you make it do?
Balls out.
Once.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you'd be in low Earth orbit pretty fucking quickly. Like, yeah. So that was a Porsche Taycan Turbo GT. Please do go and visit Complete Car and have a look at my review of it. I think you'll like it. There are reviews of the other Taycans there as well. Slightly more sedate was the Volkswagen Touareg or e-hybrid, to give it its full title.
Again, juxtaposing or e-hybrid.
Yes.
Performance hybrid.
Yeah. So obviously this is Volkswagen's top tier SUV, SUV. And I don't really get the point of the Touareg. I certainly don't.
Well, it has been a great vehicle when it came out, and it was an okay vehicle after that.
Well, you're certainly more you're well versed in the original version when it came out first.
The first gen is brilliant.
Some of the engines that it had. I mean, you could have a 3-liter petrol. No, 3.2-liter petrol VR6. You could have a 4.2-liter V8. And then you could have a 2.5-liter diesel, 3-liter diesel, 5-liter diesel, twin turbo. Mm-hmm.
And then you could have the tuned up 5-liter turbo diesel or 50.
Yes.
Which famously towed a plane on Top Gear. They weren't short of options back in the Piake era.
No. That was he was fond of some cylinders, shall we say. A cylinder aficionado.
The charcuterie of madness really going on back then. Yeah, the first Touareg was brilliant, but it had the balls underneath as well. It could go off-road, not that they really did back then, but it could. And retrospectively, they're now used for a lot of overlanding builds and stuff, and they do stack up quite well now. So after that, they got a little softer, and now it's just a large car.
Yeah, so the latest one, it's a 3-liter turbo V6 petrol with a 100 kilowatt electric motor and just shy of an 18 kilowatt hour battery. So it will do, on paper, 48 kilometers just on the battery, which I did not see. We didn't get very close to that at all. And I mean, you look at it you look at the numbers and you kind of go, this is like 462 horsepower, 700 Newton meters, just over 5 seconds to 100. And then you drive it and you go, where are these numbers? Like, are they delayed in the post? Are they... What happened? Because
it's tested slightly downhill.
It's just, I just kind of didn't really... I didn't really get the point of this car. And I think
typical of Volkswagen at the moment.
I know, they're really in a funk at the moment, I think, Volkswagen. And
now, we do know that change is coming and that there is a desired shake-up within the models. And this is kind of what's coming out now has already been set in motion prior.
For those who don't know, like what you see in the new current cars today is 3-4 years old. Like the decisions are made then.
Yeah, so this has to come out, whether, from when this was designed to when this actually has gone on sale, Volkswagen leadership has changed.
Yeah.
But you have to see it through. That's just how it goes. So we're all kind of waiting, just going, come on, get this over with.
Yeah.
Because we want to see what's happened next. We're all a little bit bored with kind of what Volkswagen is doing at the moment. They are mostly able to be described as car at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Volkswagen has always been it is quite a traditional company anyway.
It is, but they've always been able to have a little bit of whimsy within.
Yes.
They played on some of the names, Polo and Golf and all, and you'd have the golf ball shifters and
Harlequin paint schemes.
Even down to little model names. You could have the Golf Driver, which was a kind of lower, I think it was a 1.6 back in the day. Not a GTI, nothing like that. You had, they allowed themselves to be a little bit fun, in a very German way, but fun. Now it is just very, very serious, but not very good.
Yeah, it's all just kind of gotten a bit bland. And it doesn't help then that I think the designs are very conservative, and then you've got literally like Kia, Hyundai coming out with really like edgy stuff.
And I think it's more so Volkswagen got ahead, really, like from the Mark V onwards, they had a huge jump forward and all the cars were kind of pretty decent. Then they decided to make loads of ones that we didn't need, like a Taygo.
Yeah.
And a T-Roc and a T-Roc cab.
T-Roc
no one
Cabriolet.
asked for that.
I know, yeah.
And then they're so far ahead that they just stopped pushing and everyone else caught up and then passed them. And now it's like, come on, guys, you were better than this.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's an extreme, but like they made stuff like the XL1.
Yeah, but that was, but it
And they were. I mean, it is kind of unfortunate. Like Dieselgate really did kick Volkswagen in the stones.
Turns out, if you lie about everything, people won't trust you. Who'd have thought?
And it did. It did unfortunately kill off some pretty interesting projects. Like, you know, I mentioned the XL1, but there was the XL Sport, which was going to come out, which was a higher performance version of the XL1.
I'm still salty about the Touareg taking the Nardo's place.
Well,
I'll never get over it.
Yeah, so like that, they were doing some cool stuff. There was a Golf or 400
which got to like there's videos of one in the street. It got that to running, driving, not even prototype.
I can tell you how far it got. There was an Irish retail price for it. That's how far that car got.
That wasn't diesel. It should have been affected by Dieselgate.
Yeah, they had everything ready to go for that car. It was happening, and then they had to pull the plug, and that was one of the victims of that, which part of me will always be like, God damn it, Volkswagen. That was like, you shouldn't have done that, but yeah.
Yeah, you could get the TCR, and like, it comes from a place of love, in a way, because I've owned multiple GTIs and other Volkswagens as well. It's just, you go, that's not it.
Yes.
That's not the best you can do. It's so phoned in.
Yes.
And we know there's better coming. Just kind of, come on, get on with it.
So I can't tell you yet because it's embargoed, but I, this week, did spend some time in Germany with the lovely Andy Mint, who is the head of Volkswagen Design. I was there to have a look at something that is being revealed later this year that is actually not... It's something that isn't a production model, but it's a look as to how the future of the company is going to look. If that makes any sense. Yeah, I'm being very, very not saying a lot, but I'm saying stuff without saying stuff. So yeah, you'll see it. There will be. I've done a video on it. It will be coming out towards the end of April.
Now,
so
the other thing about this is the Touareg, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't need an R variant. No one's asked for an R variant, and the R variant that's arrived, well, it can't compete with other fast SUVs anyway, so what's the point? However, it does mark the change of R into its own subdivision.
yes,
Previously, R initiated on the Mark IV as the R32, and that was the then highest performance one. It got the VR6, 3.2, 247 horsepower initially. Then went the R32 Mark V. Then for the 6, they dropped down to a 2-litre. Didn't want to call it the R20 because you can't go down in numbers, so it was just the R. And this has gone on and on and on into, you know, the favoured child of the Irish PCP scene, a Mark 7R.
Tell me you're a car enthusiast without telling me you're a car enthusiast.
Check the boxes.
Yeah.
Or on finance, Maxton kit,
La Piz Blue,
Cadiz wheels, or Pretz.
Yeah.
But you can't order them on the car because they're 3,400 from Volkswagen, so you have to go to adverts. Anyway, then they start knocking on ore as a trim line for all the stuff. So you could have an ore line on a 2-litre diesel.
Now, I was trying to interject here and say they're not the only company that do
No,
this.
they absolutely aren't. But
looking at you, Toyota GR.
Yeah. If you're just wondering where this has came from, it started as it was only the high-performance ones, and this has then travelled into looking like the high-performance ones, and this has then travelled into having blue stitching on your seats.
Yeah.
But now, it's its own subdivision with 7 models.
Yes. Now, this isn't the first time this kind of thing has happened.
No.
There is also Cupra. So,
and
Cupra.
There's also, not a performance, but Hyundai then spawned Genesis.
Yes.
And Genesis have now spawned the most ridiculous spin-off brand ever. Magma. I mean, yeah, that is... Yeah, that's a bit nuts. I mean, the funny thing is, though, Hyundai just turning into Russian nesting dolls of companies.
Yes. The funny thing about Cupra though is that Cupra, I was at the announcement of when they said we're making so. I mean, I don't want to be simplifying stuff, but Seat cars, soon to be RIP, Seat cars.
A car is a vehicle with 4 wheels.
Yes, they made cars in Spain, and they started to make some high performance versions, a la Golf Wars and things like that. But their version was called the Cupra. Then they decided, Luca De Meo, who was the CEO at the time, said, we're going to make Cupra a standalone brand. And I remember standing there going, you're fucking nuts. You're insane. I have eaten my words to a degree because Cupra's actually doing okay now. And they've spawned a whole load of models that are not like fast versions of Seats. They've kind of actually killed Seat off, really. Seat is just this depressing brand now that has nothing new coming and really seems like it's in palliative care.
Seat also once did one of the funniest and most petty things ever in automotive history, and not a lot of people know it. And that's, you used to be able to get a Seat Marbella. I'm going to get this wrong and I'm going to do another apology next week. But back in the 80s, you could have a Fiat Panda or you could have a Seat Marbella.
Yes.
And Fiat said, you haven't changed enough things. So Seat brought one to court with post-it notes over every single thing they changed, and the car was a post-it note.
This wasn't the Panda, though. This was the Ritmo.
Was it the Ritmo?
Because...
Are you going to Zach Clapman me now and live search it?
I am. Not only am I live searching it, I have been in Seat's historic collection.
And you've seen the post-it notes.
I've seen the actual car, which it actually has different... So it's black and yellow. The yellow bits are like, no, this is our bit. Yeah. We did this bit. Yes. So keep talking.
Well, the point being that, Seat used to have some gusto. They did some kind of cool things back, or at least were interesting back in the day, and now they've kind of just slowly succumbed, and they're not even trying anymore.
It is, yeah. So it's just one of those very odd things. I'm just trying to figure out what it was. It was in the 80s.
I have it
wrong.
In a boring car trivia.
No, it was a Ritmo. It was a
Ritmo.
There. It was
okay.
a Ritmo. Yeah.
I don't have to do a posthumous apology.
No. We saved it this time. So anyway, but it was, and they called it the Seat Ronda.
Okay, which is a town in Spain.
Yes.
But there you go. They showed up to court and just went, no, we've changed it.
Yeah.
And they actually stood up for themselves, and it did look quite similar.
Yeah, because they did. So Fiat and Seat did have quite a long partnership. Like they made the old Fiat 600 and stuff like that. They made a Seat version of that as well. Basically, it was just badge engineering. But yeah.
And now they don't care, to the point where if you're ever behind a Seat here, and it's from Spirit, the sticker on the back says, it's supposed to say spiritseat.ie. But it doesn't read as that. When you look at it first, you automatically read spiritseat.ie. Which is like some takeaway for the recently deceased. Deliveroo in Glasnevin is...
Dead people need nugs too.
Yeah. Which, maybe it's just how my mind works, but me and a couple of people who've seen them in front of us, it always stands out on the back window of when you go, Spirits Eat. What the fuck's that? And you go, oh, it's a Seat. It's Spirit Seat.
Yes.
So there you go.
Yeah. It's also, Seat's one of those companies that they capitalize every letter in the word, and we always have this, like, as writers, we're always like, do we capitalize it as well, or do we just do it normally? And it's...
So, yeah, but they are basically at the moment have gotten the bath. They've, happy to go under the water and not come back up again.
Yeah, I think it's the end of the line really for Seat. I actually called it a couple of years ago, and a few people have listened to me. But yeah, I think that's that really. They may keep the name and do it like a mobility company or something like that. But yeah, it's kind of slightly end of the line. Speaking of names and car names named after places, It's a wonderful segue to the Alfa Romeo Milano, which I have just this morning flown back from Milano, having seen the Milano.
It's handy that they had a city named after the car Milano. That you could launch it in.
Yeah. Thank God. Only just be grateful that the Italians do this and not the Irish. You know, it's like, hello, it's the Alfa Romeo Bell Mullet.
The car Savan.
Yes. Oh, I know. We're driving to Galway today. Yeah. So, what is the Milano? You might ask.
Is it a sporty cabrio?
No, it's not.
Is
a sporty
it a V6
cabrio.
saloon?
It's not a V6 saloon. Okay. No. It
is
does
it
have
crossover.
It's a crossover. Yeah. Look, we just have to accept. Effectively, everything is now a crossover, and that's just the world we live in now. It does have door handles integrated into the rear window frame, a la 147,
and onwards,
and 156, and all that. Do you know what? It isn't a bad looking car.
I'm very cynical, as you know, Ted. The wheels are cool. The wheels are cool. I do like the kind of four-spokey design.
It's kind of teledial, kind of quadrifolio.
But it's like they know how to design a car.
Yes.
Make a good one.
Yeah, I think they've done... I mean, I think the controversial thing is the truncated tail, they call it, which is obviously a nod to the gorgeous Alfa TZ. If you know your Alphas, you know what I'm talking about. Look, there's only so many things you can do with a crossover to make it look good.
And it's Stellantis, and you can see the Stellantis in it.
Yeah, but I think it's kind of okay. It's not the most offensive thing.
I think the color and the wheels are doing a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah. That red is gorgeous looking.
For those of you that aren't in the room with us, it's a very, very, very
deep
Alpha
red.
Deep red.
Yeah.
You know.
It looks expensive.
Think of an 8C in dark red.
Yes.
It's that color with some. Usually they were like 5-hole teledials. These are now 4-hole teledials.
Yeah. Now it's part teledial, part quadrifolio.
Yeah.
And actually the air vents are like quadrifolio 4-leaf clovers inside as well, which again a bit of a nod. I think they were very on the cusp of how many trinkets and nods and winks do we put into our heritage?
There was a man from Jeep leaning on the door frame as they were coming up with this.
Yeah.
Do you know what you want there?
Yeah.
Gags. Yeah. Gags are great. Go on, have a ladybird.
Yeah, go on. Put a man in a telescope looking up at the sky.
How many grills has your car got?
Yes. No, this just has the whole Alpha logo as the grill. But yeah, that's the Milano. What is the Milano? It's going to come as an electric car. It's also going to come as a hybrid car, not a plug-in hybrid, just a hybrid car. And there is a 240 horsepower Veloce version coming with all-wheel drive. So there's that. But they say it's going to be a driver's car. Mm-hmm. I mean, driver's car and compact crossover in the same sentences.
Kind of lends itself to tipping over a little bit.
Yeah. So we shall wait and see. Driving that later this year. But yeah, if you want to see it, again, we do have a video on Complete Cars YouTube channel with me in a very badly lit room. And I don't look great because I was up at 4:00 that morning and it was 8:30 in the evening by the time we were filming that. But yes, that was that. Interesting. I'm glad Alpha are making this is the first of a whole load of Alphas.
Yeah,
so
Alpha are a company that you wouldn't have been surprised had they died off a couple of years ago, and they've managed to keep going.
They actually declined a couple of offers to be bought over the years.
Yeah, so. You want to see Alpha do well. They've never made particularly fantastic cars, but yet you'll always want to champion them a bit. Maybe it's the history. Maybe it's just because they made some fantastic engines and some fantastic lookers that necessarily didn't go all that well.
And you'd also have some old Todger who owns an MGB and sits on Facebook groups about number plates telling you you're not a real car enthusiast unless you've had an Alpha.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
we want Alpha to survive.
We just want Alpha to make some nice cars.
The Quadra Formaggio was a really great step in the right direction. And then they had to give us the tonic that was the toenail.
Yeah, The toenail is what it is. The epitome of bad engineering.
It's like gargling Dettol.
We have this car, and we'd like you to put some of your badges onto the front of it, and that will be that.
Yeah.
So yeah, but maybe there is a bit of glimmer of hope that there are some more interesting cars coming. There is a new Stelvio coming. There is a new Giulia coming. There are more models in the pipeline. The 33 Stradale that they launched, or they sold 33 of at 2 million a pop, has been a kind of a proving, like, okay, we've proven that, and that one of their product guys I was talking to last night kind of said that has kind of kept the door open now for we may do other things along those lines that are not crossovers and a bit more special, low production, things like that. So,
well, the Alpine proved, at least in some markets, that you don't need a sports car with 12 cylinders and 10 turbos and 1,700 kilos to make it popular, or more importantly, fun.
Yes.
We unfortunately did not pick up that car as well as we should have, especially due to how tax and stuff is here. But you go to France, mainland Europe, they are everywhere and they're being enjoyed, and that's brilliant. So that has proved that, to some extent, if you make it, they will come. It does not need to be a 911 beater or, 200 mile an hour.
And we don't need Taycan Turbo GT performance either.
No.
I mean, and literally, Alpine really did kind of like, they raided the Renault parts bin.
Yeah.
And they did a superb job in doing it.
Yeah, the radio controls are from a traffic.
Yeah, but it's, you don't care because it's so nice to drive and it works so well.
So if Alpha could do something like that as well, I can totally forgive all of the transgressions with the crossovers and toenails.
Yeah, look, if they help pay for it, it's the
like the Boxster saving Porsche.
It's the Cayenne mentality of, if it wasn't for this, we wouldn't have this, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
One other thing we need to, before we wrap up, is that
if you're listening to this live,
if you're listening to it relatively when this came out, next weekend is the Bicester Scramble over in the UK, which we went to last year? 2 years ago?
A year and a half ago.
A year and a half ago.
At the end of 22, we went to the final one.
Yes.
They had held 4 per year. This year, they've knocked it down to 3 official scrambles and 2 collecting addicts live ones.
Yeah.
Which are taking the place of what would have been the summer one. So there's kind of, think of one in each season, and it ends in October. So this is the second one, and it is in the middle of April. And we are heading along. If you haven't been or don't know what the Bicester Scramble is, it's exceptional. It is just, it's kind of the Porsche 911 of events where you go, damn it, it's all good. They've done a great job everywhere. This setting is amazing. However, like you walk along and it's not the Porsche section and the MG section and the Aston section. Things are just dotted everywhere. So you don't get bored of going 911, 911, 911, 911. You see one next to a chopped Model A, and then there's a Rover, and then there's something you've never seen before, and then there'll be a Singer.
Mm-hmm.
It's so cool, and the buildings are fantastic. And we went around for 8 hours the last time, and we're still like, oh, we haven't looked over here. It's amazing. Recommend anyone to check it out. It's even, like, getting there obviously isn't the easiest, but it's pretty cheap. I think tickets are 15 quid, and they are refundable up until a few days beforehand, should you not be able to make it.
I've been at a lot of good events. I've done the lawn at Pebble Beach, Villa d'Este, all that kind of stuff. This is right up there with them. Yeah. Just in the variety that they have.
It's a very nice
phenomenal
show. Like, everyone is, there's no ropes.
Yeah.
People are chatty, friendly. You can just,
Also, respectful as well.
That's something that is missing here.
There's
Even
no
Cars and Coffee at the weekend, I
their,
saw a dad take a video of his kid run up and hit every car, including a 458, and just, like, land down with his hands at the bonnet. It's like, you're encouraging this.
Yeah.
Go to somewhere like that. Everyone is, they're enjoying, they're looking, but they're keeping their distance. They're not touching. Everyone here has some need to maul things for some reason.
It's the Catholic Church did that to us, ingrained it in us.
Touching is okay. Yeah.
Touching is not okay.
But
unwarranted touching is not okay.
Unwarranted touching. It's a really cool show. Do check it out. And if you're listening, Richard Porter, you're in severe danger of a hello if we see you there.
And we will be there. And no doubt, yes, Richard, if you hear that rustling in the bush, it's Cormac behind you.
Coming up to whisper Otsot in your ear.
Anyway, that has been a bit of a variety this week. If you want to listen anymore and you haven't heard back, we've got a whole lot of other shows. So please do, if you're following this on either Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, make sure you subscribe or click follow or any of that kind of stuff. And it just means that the next time we publish a show, it's there automatically for you. You don't have to go looking for it. And please go and tell your friends. This is free. We don't charge you a penny for this. So we can only keep doing it when more and more people listen to it. So please do. Share it round. Tell your friend. Tell at least one friend. You must have one friend at least that also likes cars. So tell them about it.
You know, the odd time we do put stuff up on Instagram. We sometimes put up polls or little, submit questions. If there's something that you feel strongly about, drop us a message.
Absolutely.
Or if there's something that you feel, we or no other podcast are talking about, or you just want to hear for some reason our opinions on it, tell us.
Yeah, we'd love to hear it. So do get involved, because although this is our show, this is also your show. And the only reason we're doing this is because people like you are listening to it.
Oh, if it was just our opinions now, go downhill pretty quick.
We couldn't publish it, actually. We'd be taken to court. But anyway, that has been the 50 to 70 podcast. As ever, brought to you in association with 3FE Coffee. Big thank you to 3FE. If you do need to get any coffee stuff, have a look at their website, 3fe.com. But more importantly, go into one of their 7 stores all around Dublin. They do some fantastic brunch, especially Gertrude down on Pierce Street. Superb brunch. So yeah, go and check it out. They've got stores all over the city. And from me, Dave Humphreys, thank you.
From me, Cormac Singleton, thank you.